So let's
stop teasing me with that intro music.
Here we go.
Teaser.
This is Doomcast number 52.
What? Sorry.
It is the first birthday for this show. It's not an anniversary. There is a difference. Charlie McGrath is my co-host. My name is Doug Owen. I'm senior editor of blacklistednews.com. We do this thing called Doomcast. Our website dedicated to the show is doomcast.com. Charlie McGrath, you know him from Wide Awake News and his show on Boiling Frogs Post, On Point, and probably other places. What's up, Charlie McGrath? We're here. It's the 1 year anniversary.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous and excited. Happy birthday, Doug Owen.
Well, happy birthday to you. I got something for you. Here, I put this together for you. And, of course, Doom Nation. Happy birthday to all of you out there that have stuck with us.
That's crazy. 52 consecutive weeks that we've had, that we put out Doomcast. Now, as Doug mentioned, you might know me from WWIII.com or my YouTube channel over on Rinse. And I just finished a program on Rinse. Love Jeff Rinse. Love Rinse Radio. And producer Craig.
I love his hair.
Producer Craig's hair? Or Jeff Rince's hair?
Jeff Rince's hair.
Yeah, he's got the old dude. I don't know if it's like that anymore. You know, it's hard to get images of him or a video of him that's in this decade, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I don't know if it's still like that, but it is magnificently poofy, the pictures that you can find of him. But I was just talking to him tonight. I had Craig on. Craig, Producer 33. Craig was my guest tonight. And I was telling him that, wow, this is really... I know it's just, you know what, that's another episode of Doomcast. It's going to last an hour, and you're either going to be entertained and learn something a little bit, or you're not. Hopefully you just had a little bit of fun. But for me, it really has been, honestly, Doug, you know what? It has been the hour a week, hour and a half a week that I look forward to. I get to unload. I get to laugh a little bit with you. You and I have this chemistry going where we bust on each other. We laugh a little bit, and we have a good time. And it's really, really hard for me to believe that it's been a whole year already since we started this endeavor. And I was thinking of this question today that I had for you, because initially, when Doug and I had conversed for at least a year and a half, 2 years prior to the launch of Doomcast, before we did it. We kept setting, we'll do this in the future. We should do this. We should do something where we just kind of, you and I, joke around. And we just kept putting it off until finally said, the hell with it. We're going to do it. We're going to pull the trigger, and we're just going to, bam, we're going to launch this sucker. And whatever happens, happens. And but my question to you, Doug Owen, is, and honest to God, you can make fun of me if you want to, but I couldn't remember from the get-go, it's been weekly, right? Because originally, I know that I said to you, well, maybe we could do this, once a month or twice a month. And you slapped me down in quick fashion and said, oh, no, we got to be at least once a week. Now, so this being the 52nd episode, we've done this every single week, right? We've not started out by trying to do it bi-weekly.
No, we were going to do it once a month and see how it went, and it went well. And I don't even think we waited a whole nother month. I think it was a week or two, and we're like, hey, let's do this thing again. We need to get it out there.
Yeah.
And we wanted to, of course, get traction. And a monthly podcast, 12 a year, not going to get a lot of anticipation. A month goes by, and even my attention span kind of, goes
wanes
off somewhere. Yeah, if I'm looking at an RSS feed or a YouTube channel and nothing happens for a month, I think people are dead. They've been kidnapped by the CIA. They are at a black site somewhere in Poland's forest.
They're watching porn, something.
More likely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest with you, this is complete honesty now from the bottom of my heart. I'm telling you right now, if we have great contributors, and I'm sure you're going to get into thanking some of them tonight, but if it got to the point where we could, do this thing without having to do the other things, I honestly, I would do Doomcast, I'd do it 5 nights a week if it were, financially feasible, because it is the time I look forward to the most, because I do think we cover a lot of important topics, and we get fired up at times. We get debate going between you and I at times. And it's a good time. I mean, even if it seems like, if you listen to every 51 previous episodes, and you've heard Doug and I kind of debate things or come at things at different points of view, yeah, that happens. But you know what? That's what happens in life. But still, at the end of the day, every time we hang up the phone with each other, I'm ecstatic. I love doing the program, and I still believe in the cause. I believe in the format and the project. So I'm ecstatic to be sitting here at a year and see our numbers continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a great year. I think most of the metrics, most of the hallmarks, we hit those. I would like to see, triple the listeners. And
sure,
I'm never really content. I think that this program in this format could reach hundreds of thousands of people monthly easily.
Yeah.
So,
you know what's going to happen?
What's that?
Here's what's going to happen. I honestly believe this, that it's going to hit a point and here's what I'm basing it off of. I've had, I don't know, if I look at my channel right now, probably, I don't know, 11 or 1,200 uploads, right? Of those, Gary Hendershot and Karen Tostado and Dan Everett Snyder, Eric Lovely, I've got uploads from them as well, that are not specifically my commentary videos. So of the 1,200, let's say conservatively 700 of them are my commentary videos. It's amazing to me which ones pick to go viral, and when they do, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And I truly believe that Doomcast, although we've been continuing to grow nicely, and we have a very, very consistent base, I think there will come a point where it just really takes off, and neither one of us, who are kind of numbers freaks when it comes to watching what's happening with the program, will really be able to explain why. But when it does take off, it's gonna, when we start to see,
it's going to be like an Ebola pandemic. That's what it's going to be like.
Yeah,
it's going to be like, I don't know what's happening in Iraq right now. Genital mutilation, all of those things.
Yeah, the good stuff. That's what I call the
we
good
got
stuff.
plenty of Doom on tap, so I don't think that we're going to be in any shortage here in year 2 of the show, or going towards the 2-year birthday. I did want to make the distinction between a birthday and an anniversary.
Yeah, please do. What is that all about?
Well, we're not celebrating an occasion. That's what an anniversary is. Your wedding day. It's an occasion. You celebrate that union, or maybe signing a contract. That's or killing people. That's usually a celebration for an anniversary.
Okay.
Right? Or passing laws that are oppressive, or whatever it may be. But when you create something that isn't a life, and I think that that's what we've created here, and that is to say that there are people like producer Craig and Tuna Melts and all of the other people that contribute content, and in that the people that listen, the producers, the responders, the people that support the show financially, that help. So it's much more than just you and I, the commentary. It's actually something that's living. And that's when you give it a birthday. Living things you give a birthday. And I think that this is something that is more than a contract. We didn't sit down and just, put together a DBA and build a corporation and celebrating here, with all the millions of dollars that we have made in the last year off of
Oh, my
Doomcast.
God. I don't know what to do with it all.
It's hard to be humble, but thank you all.
I agree with you. I think that's a great description of what this is. We left the womb, we traveled down the slimy birth canal,
yes,
and we emerged in a moist environment, and here we are 1 year later, starting to goo goo and gaga. But
this is a horrible analogy. Horrible.
Well, I love it. I'm thinking of the whole birth process here, which is another thing that's happened.
You took it way too far.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. It's 52. I can do whatever I want. I got permission from the boss on 52 to do whatever I want to do, so I'm running with it. But I want to say this too. Within this year, I bought a lot of guns, as you know, and B, and B, we have a new addition to the Doomer world, and that's your little boy. So, and we don't give out names here, but that's your little boy. We'll call him Baby Doomer, and that's a very exciting thing. Obviously, more important than anything else is the addition to your family. So, congratulations on that in the last year.
6 months on. He's 6 months old. We're feeding him real human food, steel cut oatmeal, bananas, and breast milk. He likes it. It's good.
Delicious. That's what I survive on every single day of the week.
You can live off of it. He's doing pretty well with it and really satisfied. You can tell he's like, oh, yeah, I've been waiting for food. I've been waiting.
Is he a chunk? How much does a kid weigh?
It's about probably 17 pounds or so.
Good Lord, you got a linebacker going there.
6 months old. He's big, too. He's got huge feet. So I imagine he'll probably be about 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, well, you're six. What are you, 6'1"?
Yeah, 6'1". I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing. You know, my mom has some really large guys. Her maiden name is Stout, and there's good reason for that. So,
and it follows through. How about the Latina Doomer bride? Does she come from big stock?
No.
Well,
Just,
all right.
Just medium average height. I mean, not short or anything, but she's medium height.
I don't know where to take it from there, so we'll move on. But,
there you go. He's big and healthy. That's the point. And this year has been really,
this is the best year of your life, actually. You regardless if you know it or not, which I'm sure you do, but regardless if you do or not, as going forward, you look at this is going to be the best year of your life. This is when you and your lovely bride were given the best gift that ever could be given.
Aww.
I know. And plus,
Thanks, Charlie.
You're welcome very much. And plus, you still hold the rank at number 3 with me. So that's cool.
So anyway, where do you want to go with this show tonight? I mean,
I don't even care.
You don't even care? You don't want to
I don't even care.
The pandemic Ebola? That's
yeah.
coming?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. We got a couple
Martial
American
law, the World Health Organization, the UN quarantining, the FAA, the Department of Homeland Security becoming relevant again with the new swine flu 2.0.
Yeah.
It's become quite the narrative. You've been watching any of this?
A little bit of that. Obviously, as previous Doomcast will show, and anybody who follows any of my work with interviews and stuff shows that I'm still probably morbidly, certainly doomastically infatuated with what we see going on inside of Eastern Europe right now with Ukraine, Russia, and the pro-Western government in Kiev. But I'm informed on everything else, so we can go whatever way you want. You're running the ship tonight, Captain.
Okay, well, here's an interesting one. This came from I don't remember. I can click it here. Let's see. It's The Mirror, which is a UK paper. Ebola. Okay. Doctors told to prepare for global outbreak after victim was allowed on 2 planes. So this victim, Patrick Sawyer, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but
a little bit.
Yeah, he's become this like drama, and all of this is basically getting people hyped up about needing more airport security and freaking. Not to say that it's not a real concern, but it's really interesting to see the politicking that just kind of took place today. And I think that we could kind of, build off of this and reflect on the doom. Because really, I think a lot of people look at the name of the show, our monikers, the T-shirt shop at blacklistednation.com that you should go to and buy yourself a Doomcast mug. That's one way you can support us. And we get a little chunk of change. Not much, but a little bit. And you get a cool mug that will start a conversation about things like zombies. So I think that you said, well, what's going to be the big thing that's going to help this podcast? I think when people are quarantined in, this is a new congressional leaked report, Ebola bio-kits deployed into the National Guard units in all 50 states. They're saying it's uncontrollable. And even we have this American doctor who's become part of the saga. His name's Kent Brantley. And he is, guess how old do you think Kent is? Take a wild guess.
Kent Brantley? Go ahead and give it to me because I don't know.
He's 33 years old.
Oh!
So there's that. And so that's where people can download the podcast. You'll have lots of time in quarantine while the DHS is washing you down and probing you and running you through the naked scanner machine. That's
how old was Patrick Sawyer? I never looked that up. I know his wife's 34. because I've just been reading.
He's probably 33 as well.
Yeah, probably. Ding.
Yeah, probably.
I'm doing the ding. Ding.
You can do the ding with your mouth.
The ding.
There's another ding.
Wait a minute. You just said on air and forever recorded that I can do the ding with my mouth.
You might as well. You want to do it.
I've already done it. It's done. It's done. Did.
Next time, Charlie.
Love it. Love it. All right. So anyway, continue on. We have Ebola is spreading like wildfire. We're going to be ordering it like pancakes on our shores anytime soon. So we need a little more security. We need swab.
We need that, and we want people out there to realize that there's going to be some new vaccine, and that is the company to invest in really short. I mean, you ride the wave as soon as the government starts issuing billions of dollars to Merck and Pfizer and other, GlaxoSmithKline. Just like, how many years ago was it when we had the big, huge bird flu pandemic hype where the government was just buying these defunct, no good vaccines that ended up being destroyed to the tune of billions of dollars that were just, a way to put icing on and a payday probably for the Affordable Health Care Act now, looking at it retrospectively. But that kind of paved that path. So I just see these stories in cycles, and it's just another, I think, takeaway from what we do here on the show and how we analyze things and look at the media and break it down. But
what do you think? Do you think, I've been meaning to ask you this all week, and I just looked it up here. He was 40 years old, so we missed the 33 connection there. But what do you think? I mean, are we about to see? I'm always looking for what is the next shit hits the fan moment on this planet or in this country. And I'm telling you, Ebola is no joke. I mean, that would certainly be a game changer planetarily if we had a massive outbreak. And the numbers in Africa that have died from this are pretty alarming. I mean, it's 1,200-1,300 people in recent history have bit the dust because of this. And
allegedly,
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 allegedly.
We saw that with the flu pandemic. That
some
of
good
those
point.
numbers
Good
were
point.
skewed, and not to disparage or be a total conspiracy theorist about what's happening there.
They're spraying it with the airplanes, Ebola.
But
it's like
Liberia, I mean, these places don't have basic sewer systems. Liberia in Monrovia, which is the name of it, after our president, Monroe, the first intervention back into trying to reintroduce black slaves into
Yet again, Doug Owen provides himself to this audience for absolutely free of charge as a wealth of knowledge. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Liberian story is pretty interesting. There's a few different documentaries, but basically Monrovia was named after the president, and they were going to try to put slaves back in Africa. It was part of that relocation program. Didn't work very well because they just went back and enslaved all of the population, and things have not been really great since then. But it's one of those places where you can have something like that fester, where you have super bugs, and something like that can be naturally introduced. I'm not a viral. How do you say it? Virologist. I'm not a virologist, but basic sanitation really does provide.
Where is the origin of Ebola?
Do
you know? I don't know. I'm not trying to put you on the spot here. I totally do not know. If it's an engineered virus, or if it's naturally occurring in nature, or
yeah, it is. Ebola is something that I think is naturally occurring, but it doesn't necessarily infect humans. It's like your body's covered. Your cell phone, your body, your bed are all covered with staph. Tons of it. Nasty. Right. I mean, just disgusting. Fecal matter all over your stuff.
Oh, my God. Stop it.
Everywhere.
I'm going to throw up.
Every time you smell a fart, you're actually taking crap particles from some other human being.
Would you stop it?
Your nose. I mean, it's just the way it is. Okay? So, with that, I don't
even know where to go. I need to go take a shower.
Pour some Clorox in your nose.
Is there fecal matter in my shower?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Oh, God.
Definitely. But it doesn't make you sick, does it? You don't worry about it, not knowing that it's there. And actually, if you do the other by disinfecting everything and spraying Clorox, you actually make yourself and your environment more susceptible to.
I've read that.
Yeah,
I've read that, where the people in the office who are constantly, they're bellying up to the sanitary, spritzer, hand sanitizer.
Those things have that triclosine, something like that.
Yeah,
that was causing infertility, and in Europe for whatever reason it's banned, but here in the good old United States of America, it's okay for you out there. And
you're damn right.
And people were addicted to that. You could get like keychains that had it, and people, I think it's kind of gone away because people have started reading these, mainstream, publications.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm overdriving you. I just got a message from producer Craig. Did you see this message, Doug?
No. What's up?
Tell Doug, ! Kick his volume up a bit. Dougie is a little bit low on volume.
Sorry. There we go. Probably better.
Bam.
Bam.
It sounds
Bam.
the exact same to me, but is that better?
It looked low. Okay, yeah. This looks better.
Yeah. Now you're hard charging, as you always are.
Yeah. Well.
So anyway, we got Sawyer. He's dead. He's got Ebola. And I know I'm saying it wrong, but I like saying Ebola.
Ebola.
I like to put the I on there. It's a Montana thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Just let me run with it.
Okay.
Do you think we have a pandemic underway, a zombie apocalypse? I mean, this thing, like I said, it's no joke. 91% death rate. You get it, you are going to die.
Yeah, could start a zombie apocalypse. That would be good for the show.
Yeah, with no zombies, though, because 91% are going to die.
Zombies would be totally into Doomcast. I mean, it would really be a prophecy for them. It would be prophesizing what they are doing, what they are trying to accomplish.
Let me think about that.
They like brains.
We got them. We're packed with brains.
Power packed.
Yeah. I think the folks that enjoy the zombie. Are you a fan of zombie movies?
No,
not at all?
I didn't watch any of them. I mean, I know about the Living Dead and some of those TV series that people said had so much foreshadowing, propaganda. Real.
The Living Dead?
Oh yeah. Oh. FEMA coming in, being the saviors, the government coming in, instituting martial law, some of those other things that could happen during a zombie apocalypse that you would expect to happen.
I guess I'm with you because I never subscribed or invested a bunch of time in The Living Dead.
No.
What, am I thinking of The Living Dead or The Walking Dead?
I don't know. Maybe the Walking Dead.
The series. You're talking about the series that was...
shows you how much I know about zombie movies.
Yeah. I mean, I like, Shaun of the Dead. Ones that make me laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's just there's so much of it out there, and they become a metaphor for brain dead, the politically uninformed versus the politically aware. It's like sheeple, zombie meme, and it's really fun. The prepper movement and, a lot of these weapons companies and, military and tactical companies kind of used it as a way to sell products, because it's cool, it's funny, prepare for the zombie apocalypse. So it was popular for a while. There was just like so much of it.
Yeah, and what a metaphor it is. I mean, if you take it to that extreme and you compare, and you're saying the zombie outbreak is the same as the outbreak of ill-informed, that's actually a pretty dang good metaphor, Doug.
Doug, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with that. I think I'll use it.
Here we go.
What the hell, man? Play it all. Was that taps?
No. It was just ta-da.
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 All right, what else you got? All right, because here's the deal. I'm Ebola. I'm done with it. I'm done talking about it. Yeah.
Well, let's talk. You wanted to talk about the Russian, Ukraine, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, BRIC bloc, and what's happening with that. Saw some interesting news. Moscow Stock Exchange today was halted mysteriously.
Crazy,
dun, dun,
right?
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. So, and of course, they were being hit with new EU sanctions at the same time. So when you see that's big time moves in the market because these guys are very vested in the financial economy, the military industry, the European economy. So
I'm still breaking through what the sanctions mean. what sectors it'll affect. Will it mean that I can't go out and buy Russian ammunition?
You
Probably.
don't need any more, Charlie. You don't need any more.
I always need more, Doug.
You don't need
I always
any more.
Yeah,
You're good.
Here's the deal. I'm setting aside for Doomer Jr., your little boy. I'm setting aside a little prep pack, for you and the fam, because you never know when 7.62x39 is going to come in handy. But more seriously, though,
I think that U.S. companies could make that same round, and if there wasn't cheap Russian ammunition piling in that's not that cheap, then it would come from somewhere else, and I don't see why.
Well, wait a minute, though, because the truth of the matter is, our buddy, producer Craig, is about to jump into an AK-74 because the 5.45 rounds, one of the reasons is because the 5.45 rounds by 39 in the surplus ammunition is still so much cheaper than anything you can buy in AR-15 or 5.56. So definitely, if we can no longer import this, it will definitely have an effect.
See, this is why I hang out with you guys, because during the zombie apocalypse, I'm taken care of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use my child's big brown eyes, and hopefully you'll have sympathy on me and take me into the doom bunker with you.
I already told you, I'm putting together a pack.
All right.
I got you. I got you.
I got to use that to get to you there in Bozeman.
You're gonna have to use your. You're going to have to use your Winchester 30-06, whatever the heck it is you have that you talked about.
You remember that. That shows you how much you are completely into guns on a whole nother level.
It shows how much you're number 3. I told you before you're number 3. So when you say something, I listen. I don't forget. I listen and I
You can't
tuck it
shoot
away.
that thing anywhere. People will hear you miles and miles and miles away. It's like a rocket.
Yeah, well, you know what? It'll do a job on somebody too. So it's a good gun to have.
If I come in contact with a bear or a buffalo or
any other mammal on this planet,
flash mob of dancers,
it'll go through about 6 of them. You're good to go.
Good.
But so anyway, back to the sanctions. The program I recorded tonight on Rinse was this article. I think you had it up on your site today too. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you did. And if you didn't, I'm sure you did. I was going to say you are remiss, but I'm sure you did. Top financial experts see World War III is coming, ... unless we stop it.
Right.
And you saw that article. Did you have it up on yours? It was
from Washington's blog.
Yeah, exactly. And, a few takeaways. First of all, I have a job, so I have not had the time to – this drives me crazy in independent media. This thing is – it is 5 hours long, and it's got links that'll take you down rabbit holes for days and days on end. So I haven't went through the whole thing yet, but it's the gist of it.
Save me the labor pains, show me the baby.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that is so the reason why most of my commentary videos I try to keep to 5 minutes or less, because people just don't have the time. But I agree with a lot of things that are saying in here. And what I wanted to ask you about is, first of all, the gist of this article is we're pushing steadily towards World War III, and there's a lot of key indicators, or there's a lot of key similarities between 1914 rushing into World War I, things that happened, black swan events that happened, that could happen anywhere at any time on this planet that would lead us into World War III. But I found interesting, and I never got into this over on the Rinse Network, the key players, because it's truly the Rolodex of the alternative media. Norio Rubini, Kyle Bass, Hugo Salinas-Price, Charles Niner, Jim Dines, Jim Rogers, David Stockman, Mark Faber, Jim Rickards, Paul Craig Roberts, Armstrong. I'm just going to go last names because it's too long to read them all. Edelson, Salente, and the list goes on of people that were, writing stories that corroborate the fact that we're heading to World War III. And I know that if anybody in this community, in the independent media community, was going to have a positive, cheery outlook or maybe a counterpoint to this, it would be my buddy Doug Owen. Did you get a chance to read some of this and digest some of it?
Well, yeah. Jim Rickards, most of these guys, Gerald Salente, they look at where we're at today and they make predictions. Some of them sell stock. Some of them are invested in, obviously making money. And one way to do that is to, make, I wouldn't say embellish, but, create a context in which, the one solution that they have is physical gold and metals and other investment measures. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think as long as you're forthcoming with it, then, that's what it's about. But, this is the thing with the economy. If you say that the end is near and that it's going to explode, at some point it will, and you'll be right.
Right.
That's just, it's just a matter of time. It's just like a terrorist event. At some point there is going to be one false flag, naturally organic, made it happen, let it happen on purpose, whatever it may be, whatever flavor of event that is used as a catalyst. At some point, that's going to happen. And if you and I just bang that drum every day, false flag, false flag, false flag, sooner or later we'd be like, see, told you so. And then we could just chop that out and put that on YouTube and then go and get ourselves a Wikipedia page for the Doomcast and tell everybody that we're
Oh, my God. Can we do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. We need
back to World War III. Okay.
Sorry. Wait a minute. I want a Wikipedia page. So if anybody's out there that edits Wikipedia, please contact me, info@wideawake.news.com. I want this thing set up. And actually, my friend Warren Pollock does that. So maybe I'll talk to him about getting us a Wikipedia entry.
We have to be famous or relevant. I don't know how you could pose it, or dangerous or interesting. We're all of those things, but
yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe. One of the interesting ones, predictions, from the alternative media. All of those are the same, and they've been the same forever. And at some point, they're going to be right. And I agree with all of those guys. At some point, when you're holding a troy ounce of gold or silver in your hand, it's going to be worth
Don't just take it to metals now.
I'm saying, or anything, or a gun, or a piece of property, or anything else that is scarce and God isn't making any more of. It's going to be probably more valuable, and that's what the government's trying to do. That's what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. Is trying to create inflation with low interest rates. That's the policy. Pump, pump, pump.
And they're doing it. They're doing exactly that.
Yeah, and that's Janet Yellen is just printing money. So they want to, if you listen to most of the financial important people like Christine Lagarde, who's the head of the IMF. I mean, here's a pretty interesting piece. She's saying that and warning Europe that there are going to be huge adverse effects of this anti-Russian sanctions. Now, I don't trust anything she says, so I immediately think that this is probably not going to have that big of an effect on most things. But I look at her and their policies, and the one thing they're afraid of is deflation. They're worried about people not having enough money and just saying, hey, I'm not going to go out there and spend money. I'm just not going to go to spend money at Finger Hut next time I hop on a flight or whatever it may be. You're not going to buy stuff anymore because you're not going to have expendable cash. You're not going to have the ability. So that's built in, and that's going to happen. And things like gold, silver, perfect example. It costs more to mine silver right now than it does to buy an ounce of silver. Now, if you think about how that – and we know that it's just last week a huge expose on how J.P. Morgan has been manipulating and once conspiracies – or conspiracy theory about the manipulation of metals now proves the point that, yes, they were, and, they'll probably pay a few $100 million fine, just like a lot of these institutions are. A big multi-billion-dollar fine with the countrywide Bank of America financial scam.
Housing market scam, yeah.
But, no one going to jail and, pennies of portions, drops of what the profits they actually made from being the SIFI banks, the too big to fail banks. So, but when it comes to World War III, I'm still on the bandwagon that this is creating a new economic boom and development, but I don't think that they're going to go too far because at the end of the day, there's money to be made. Here's a perfect example. Company in which Joe Biden's son is the director prepares to drill shale in East Ukraine, not in West Ukraine, in East Ukraine.
In fact.
Now, what's going to happen there? Now, there's one of two things that's going to happen. Either, A, this company is going to go into this hostile area and they are going to extract shale oil and they're going to put it into a pipeline and ship it to Europe, or something bad happens, something really bad happens. So the government is there, the U.S., those CIA and FBI advisors are there to instruct their private mercenary armies on how to prevent that from happening. Now, there's a lot of risk there because even if you have the most competent, best Blackwater thugs you can buy, private Fortune 500 mercenary company, sometimes shit happens. Sometimes shit blows up. So you insure it with an AIG type company, and you make sure that when that thing blows, you make billions of dollars, and then you'll come back, and the government will get more money from the IMF, and they'll pay you to come out there and build another section of pipe, and they'll give you drone protection. Barack Obama and Jack Lew and all the other people in government will finance, and whoever it may be, even in 2016, will just kind of massage this same system. So it's interesting because it's a reward and risk system that we see playing out, and the financialization of the war that's happening. I mean, here's just some headlines. Here's a few to chew on real quickly. The U.S. says Russia tested a cruise missile in violation of the Cold War Treaty. EU hits Russia with more sanctions as Ukraine fighting escalates. Russia-Ukraine tensions pose credit default risks for the IMF. U.S. indirectly admits that the Ukrainian missile system presented near Donetsk in MH17. And the one that I thought was really, really interesting, and it's kind of a little backstory to what happened there with MH17, or at least something to consider. Electronic warfare drills were happening in Berlin. Berlin points finger at NATO for the ATC blackouts. So they had this S-band mobile radar shield up just weeks before when we had all of those the Ukrainian jets flying in and out of commercial traffic streams or commercial alongside commercial jets, at least reports on the ground there. So is that World War III, or is this just friendly fighting and a little, theater? It's hard to say.
Well, that's a good, I don't think it's hard to say. I don't think it's World War III yet, but I think it's on the horizon. I want to.
What about Jim Wiley? Did you hear about his prediction? The big story.
No. What is it?
He's one of these market guys, right? Are you familiar?
Wait a minute. Before we get on that, I want to focus just for a minute on, because you brought it up, and it is such an incestual, disgusting story.
Oh yeah.
Which is Hunter Biden, right?
Yeah.
Hunter Biden, who's on the board of Burisma, this Ukrainian energy conglomerate. And you talked about one of them going into eastern Ukraine, and I'm telling you right now, they're there now. This look, Czech Republic, Netherlands, France, Germany, they've all banned fracking or the kind of energy extraction that is lucrative and that is going to be undertaken inside of eastern Ukraine. The Ukraine military right now is providing security while this Burisma has contractors in place setting up the equipment to extract this kind of energy. And Hunter Biden is sitting on this board, the vice president's son. And at the same exact time, we have the Senate coming out with full support of Senate Bill 2277, this directive to USAID to go ahead and support any kind of energy extraction from eastern Ukraine, because it will lessen the control of the Russian Federation over Ukraine and over Western Europe. I mean, and nobody knows this crap in this country. No. Nobody knows it. They just, Putin sold them or gave them the missiles that brought down this Malaysian flight. It is so much deeper than what we're fed on the establishment media. It is so much more entailed. And as I told Craig tonight when he was a guest on my program, I'm not an apologist for Russia or Putin. I firmly believe that he is giving him every piece of technology, the separatists, that is, in eastern Ukraine. He is giving them technology. He's giving him equipment in order to counter the threat of annihilation, a lot of which was spelled out in this alleged Rand Corporation release memo. But I see
sure,
him.
I mean, it's no different than what the U.S. is doing in Iraq, what we're doing in Syria, and a lot of other places in Jordan. And, I mean, just $40 billion worth of weapons they can't account for, and probably missing in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan, yeah.
I mean, and God only knows where that ends up, and that's just one case in point. But you look at the rampant proliferation of weapons, heavy weapons.
Good job, Doug Owen.
Yeah,
that's a tough word for you.
It was tonight. I'm tired. Yeah, tired a little bit. I'm so partied out from our birthday party earlier. Oh, playing that kazoo for you.
when we had the hookers and booze, that one.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I want to read this to you. I want to read this to you and get your take because, Doug, God bless you. I know. And I love it about you. You always look at this has been done before. And in this case, I agree with you. It has been done before. We saw this leap into World War in 1914 and World War I. And I do believe we're at a place now in the history of time that this could happen again. Unfortunately, most people's in the West, their knowledge of what's going on right now in Eastern Europe with Russia is limited to the downing of the Malaysian airliner. They don't understand the billions spent prior to that destabilizing the Ukraine government and the CIA involvement in the implementation of Poroshenko and the whole nine yards. But Craig posed a good question to me tonight, or a good theory, which is that the American people are so war weary that we can never ever. I shouldn't say that. I'm not quoting him verbatim. Craig, I apologize if I'm butchering your take on this. That we are not ready to be brought into a world war. And my theory is we are so ready to be brought into a world war because if you take away the fantasy recovery, the fantasy notion that we have no inflation, if you take away the fact that the only reason we can pull this off is because of our financial influence around this planet, then suddenly we are in a place that puts a lot of people in this country, the majority of the people in this country, in pain. And pain is the ultimate motivator to turn a populace that is docile and could care less one way or the other of what's going on geopolitically into a populace that is malleable, that could support any kind of activity, be it World War III or another, so-called war on terror or war on freedom or war on oppression. And I wanted to read this one part of from this article that you and I have been talking a little bit about. And this is from billionaire hedge fund manager Kyle Bass. When he and honestly, Doug, this is I believe
who's Bass? Is he?
He's a hedge fund manager, multi-billionaire hedge fund manager that controls a lot of money.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily subscribe to everything he says, but I do.
Is he like an investor, or is he actually like the head of some big company on the?
No, he's an investor. He runs his own hedge fund and is in control of billions and billions of dollars. Not that I say that to give him clout, but what he writes, this one little paragraph here, I do believe is accurate. Trillions of dollars of debt will be restructured, and millions of financially prudent savers will lose large percentages of their real purchasing power at exactly the wrong time in their lives. Again, the world will not end. This is true. I don't believe the world's coming to an end, but the social fabric as we know it is going to be shaken up. And I'm paraphrasing now. And in that time in history, the American people, the people of the West, will be absolutely begging for a bad guy, be it Russia, be it China, be it whatever, to pin this on. And this is with nations like Russia, who are at the exact same time positioning themselves in the world to stop the advance of this West. And I think that is how some kind of World War III scenario could prove itself to be true in a very short amount of time. I'm talking within.
And not to be rude, but I mean that's just so subjective. Yeah, I mean the social fabric is changed up in this country every 40 years. We have crises. We have all sorts of social, political, cultural, musical changes that happen all of the time.
Right.
You go back to the 60s under LBJ and during the Vietnam War, and the engagement of the population by the U.S. military. Kent State. I mean, we've been through things that are pretty violent and riots and the like. So I don't think that it's out of the question. I think that it can happen. It has happened. I mean, if you look at Greece, Greece is a perfect example of what happens to a country, or maybe even Cyprus, where people are blindsided. The banks that they were engaged with, or for whatever reason, have been targeted, and they are, wake up and they can't get their money out. I think that happens, and it's been happening in a lot of places. So maybe I think that there was this lull, the 80s, the 90s, or maybe it was just my ignorance when I was younger, not seeing all of these scandals. But if it is of epic proportion, I can't downplay that as far as the math, what has happened. But I do believe and agree with the restructuring and the debt absolvement and other systems that they'll put forward. Are people going to lose purchasing power? Every year you lose in purchasing power. Have you seen the price of beef? Go get a fajita plate. I went to a place that used to sell fajitas, fajita plate. I don't know, like
I just cracks me up
$13, but now it's $22. $22 for a plate of carne, little meat.
Oh, I love fajitas, man. They're one of my favorite.
And in the 70s, people wouldn't even eat fajitas.
Why?
That's because it's a fatty strap of meat. They threw it away. They would feed it to the pigs or
those
usually
fools.
Dogs. Yeah, and then somebody said, "Hey, man, this is good stuff, and we need to sell this strap," and they did, and it became popularized. And
if I was thrown on a desert
same
island,
thing with tilapia. Okay, did you hear about tilapia 10 years ago, or fish tacos? Now it's hip to eat tilapia. Tilapia is a trash fish.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the taste of tilapia, so I'm going to leave that aside. But I've had this discussion with friends. If I was thrown completely way off topic here, but if I was thrown on a desert
tilapia,
island,
World War III, whatever.
Yeah, fajitas, it all ends up. But if I was thrown on a desert island and I had one food that would be delivered to me for the rest of eternity until I died, the food would be a fajita, because it's absolutely freaking perfect. And it would have to be a fajita with all the trimmings, right? I want my guacamole with sour cream. I want my salsa. I want my pico de gallo sauce. All of it to go with it. But that would be the absolute perfect food, because it never. I don't know about you, Doug Owen, but it never ever gets old.
No, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the. Yeah, but I eat not often. I try not to eat the Mexican.
Well, you
food.
can't afford it when it's $20 a plate.
No. Not only that, but it's just not good for you. There's another.
Fajita?
There's a radio host in the same area that I live in that is a big fan of enchiladas, and you'll see what a body by enchilada will look like after a while.
Well, that's if you don't do anything. If you eat an enchilada or fajita and you sit there and talk on the radio all day long and you don't get up and move a little bit, I don't care if you're eating peanut butter sandwiches, you're going to get fat.
It's true.
True enough. All right. So, I'm not necessarily talking about the purchasing power. I'm talking about the global stage as it is set right now. Look at how much has had to happen for Europe to come on board with any kind of United States, the sanctions that we started to try to push forward onto Russia. Look at how hard it's been, even in the wake of MH17, to get Europe on board. Now, if suddenly, and I don't think it's going to happen, I think they're playing lip service to it, but if it did happen, it would be a key indicator that the shit's about to hit the fan. If Germany, if France decided to implement some of these ridiculously tough sanctions that Washington, D.C. wants leveled against Russia, it would be a sign that, okay, it's about to get really ugly, because you're going to see civil unrest and disobedience inside of Europe, and you're going to see a pissed off Russia who has lost, up to 30% of their wealth because they can no longer sell their energy to Europe. We can't replace that energy. It isn't coming from Saudi Arabia. If that comes to the point of fruition, then I think it's a sure sign that things are about to get really ugly. And global war absolutely could be started over such things, because if you have a meltdown of society.
But don't we have all those things? I hate to jump in, but I mean,
I think
that, look at what's happening in Iraq, throughout the Middle East. We have pretty much a world war. We have a war being waged in Ukraine. We have a civil war, or whatever you want to call it. I think that you have so many foreign actors and outside.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're talking about.
I mean, what more do we want? I mean, this is the thing. I think that this is the problem. People want something that's so apocalyptic. They want something
I don't want
bigger.
it.
It's like it's not enough. It's like, oh, well, the country
wait a minute,
is going to be
wait.
bankrupt. I'm like, well, isn't it bankrupt? Because
No. Wait a minute, man. First of all, I don't want it.
but some people do, and it's like,
okay.
or they're just waiting for it or anticipating for it. This event.
Well, I mean,
it's like event horizon. It's on the way. It's coming.
You're talking about Iraq. You're talking about Syria. You're talking about Libya. You're talking about Afghanistan. These are countries that were shambles before we got there. Now they're destabilized shambles. When you start talking
Africa, South America,
okay, same, destabilized.
Only place that's not destabilized right now is Canada. What's up, Canada? I'm gonna probably
what up?
we come out your way sooner or another. Hey, I'm coming your way. Eh? I like maple syrup. And square wheels.
Stop it, Owen. You stop that. I love Canada. I've done several Doomcast.
I think we're in World War III, and
no,
some people
we're not into shit. We're not into shit. Listen,
this is the beginning. This is the beginning, and it's going to be financial. And that's what this is all about. This is the thing, and people are waiting for this military action. I think that if you listen to the wonks over there at the Brookings Institute, the International Crisis Group, that represent the Fortune 500s, the CFRs, what they want is, and they know that U.S.
What do they want, Owen?
They want, what do they want? They want internationalism, and they want to push forward and release Europe to be the viable offer to build the economy, the U.S. economy, off of providing for Europe rather than Russia, and using that to isolate Russia. And Russia's playing the same exact game. They're delivering weapons to the Malaki government. We just gave them how many? 5,000 Hellfire missiles. So we can't keep any of our weapons together. I mean, I don't know what more we could really do.
As they're pushing for internationalism, we see the rise of nationalism around the planet. Yeah. And the aforementioned nations are, at very best, they were developing nations.
Kurdistan's going to be a new nation. I mean, I agree with everything. That's my point, is that I'm in total agreement with everything that Bass guy said. And I think that it's happening right now. And I think that we're going to see many more things that are staged and some that are organic blowback to policies that
I'm not even saying staged at this point. I think there's enough hostility and animosity in the world to have organic events occur because of previous staged events.
See, this is the thing. I mean, when it comes to what the U.S., the EU, and Russia and China and all these international G20 players, the governments can really do, they're up against two forces. Okay, if they destroy their own economies and they just put their people into peril, you have things like in Spain and in Greece where you have the people assassinating government. It becomes destabilized. Everybody loses money. The companies bail out, and it's not good for what they're trying to accomplish, which is more internationalism, more international agreements. So this is what Putin bucks. They have some agreement. Well, see, these guys are not actually firing weapons, and that makes this demonstration legal. And Victoria Nuland and John McCain will give the kids candy. And you're not playing by our rules, where we let the UN and internationalists determine what's legal and what's international. So now we have the propaganda war. I mean, the Russians were trying to take the high side to this, and now they're basically refuting everything that's coming, their way, and responding. Saying,
brilliantly, by the way, brilliantly.
Well, I mean, they've got the proof, and the government, the U.S. government, has not put out anything that's compelling. And both sides are asking you to believe a bunch of military and government bureaucrats, and I'm not doing that for either side. And so the analysis.
But let me ask you this: I'm sorry to keep digressing to this, but let me ask you this. If you were a judge, Judge Doug,
yes,
Judge Doug, and you're looking at the evidence put before you with what's in respect to Ukraine, but in more importantly, let's say in this instance, the respect to the shooting down of the Malaysian airliner, and you were an honest judge, and you're listening to the State Department releases every day that talk about this evidence that we have and blah blah blah, or watching what Russia's putting out, where would you lean? I just want this because I know you're a thinker.
This is the thing. You would lean for your team. You know, it's.
I don't have a team. I don't have a team.
The NFL. Okay, you're on Team USA. They're your government. They protect you. They have guns that you buy for them. Most people that are pro-West are going to lean towards whatever kind of bull crap they're hearing from the State Department press release, or if you think that the U.S. government are a bunch of liars and part of the International New World Order, people lean more towards what ITAR-TOS and RIA and RT is.
I know if I had a dog in the fight, I'd be leaning toward him. But I'm looking for your opinion because I know you're skeptical on everything. And I just because I'm so immersed in this and I know what my opinion is on it, I want to know what you think. I mean, looking at...
I think both sides are lying. I think both sides, in almost every case that we have, are committing war crimes. There is no right, whether it's Gaza, Hamas versus the Israeli IDF and the Likud Party, whether it's what's happening in our own backyard, just a few hundred miles south of here, where we have people hyping up the illegal immigrant crises and tackling on politicizing it and putting Ebola. Well, what if these people have Ebola? Ah! So that way,
What if they have fajitas?
Well, and then we could hang out maybe, possibly, or something. I don't know, but I'm.
Listen, I'm looking at the clock and I realize that
we got to thank some people.
Yeah,
let's
do it,
man. Okay. First off, number one, big thanks to Doom Nation, especially you supporters out there. Number two, Charlie McGrath.
What? Me?
Yeah, you are number two in my list of people to thank. Of course, without you, there would be no show, and I would just be... People would say, Doug's so smug, and he just didn't believe I absolutely do.
Are you saying I keep you in check a little bit?
No, I think that you probably speak
balance?
to...
We balance each other out?
Yeah, because
I agree with
because
that.
Here's the thing, it's so funny, and it's ironic, because in my normal day-to-day life, I am the complete quack. I am the one that's like way off in left field or right field. Or,
that's hilarious.
And in this community, it's like, oh, you're the voice of reason. I'm like, really? I mean, I really think this world is fucked too, and it's been fucked for a while.
Oh my God, that is so funny, because in my day world, I refuse to talk about this kind of stuff. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't bring it up. I don't talk about it. I don't comment on it. Only because I get so irate, when I hear people reciting the narrative of the day. It just drives me absolutely.
You have to be able to respond to that. You said, well, what would you do if you're an objective person? Okay,
right.
Well, let's guess how many people are objective. Guess how many people actually know who Plato is or Socrates or understands
zero
fallacies.
I'm going to say zero.
Do you know what the appeal to nature is and why it's wrong? So you can't have that conversation. So what I think and you think only matters to well-informed doomers out there.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's very fair. But here's my take on it. Okay. I believe that be it my YouTube videos or be it my radio program or be it this that I feel that I touch on this subject and I contribute. That is my contribution. When it comes to 9 to 5 and I'm dealing with business stuff, I don't even want to go there. I don't want to side with the red team or blue team. I don't want to have the discussion. I'll save my political viewpoints. I'll save my theories on what's going on for when I have a platform that I feel like I'm doing some good.
Well, and to your point, or to kind of make people think about it a little differently, it doesn't really matter. If you're not going to be able to prove things to people that don't want to at least consider. If you're not willing to consider, then there's really nothing you can do. If somebody's just dug in, and so
you should. If you're not willing to consider, you should be in a FEMA camp.
Yeah, and this show isn't going to be relevant to you anyway. You're just going to be, oh, those guys.
Yeah, screw you. If you have that point of view, screw you.
You're a freaking crazy climate denying wacko right wing nutbag. Yeah, I mean,
burn in hell.
Burn in hell. Yeah, some people would say that. All right, Craig Simpson, number 3, of course.
Absolutely.
At producer Craig 33. He helps with the great mix-ups, and if you're not checking those out and sharing them, it's a great way to give somebody.
Then you're a loser.
Then you suck, and you're part of the New World Order, and you're the reason the
we have
sheeple aren't
Doomcast.
getting. Yes, and this is relevant.
Yeah.
It's worth listening to. And I want to thank him also for doing the post-production and the new wrap-up show that we do from time to time. We've done one, and it was actually pretty successful, just a wrap-up.
It was great, by the way.
Yeah, we talked about the cloud computing, and what that
is.
is.
He's a smart dude, that Craig Simpson.
He is.
Yeah.
So we got some feedback, a few things to consider, a few things to look at. Swiss Tony chimed in. He says, "Hi, mate. Probably the best Doomcast in a while." He's talking about 51. Says, "Jam-packed with interesting opinions. I salute you and Charlie, and we salute you back, sir."
Absolutely.
Said just one thought I had. I think the unusual high coverage of the slightly one-sided ding-dong in Palestine gets almost smells a bit like a divide of the Likud bloc versus the left-leaning Jewish media owners. And there is that divide. I mean, you're going to see Common Dreams, Democracy Now!, a lot of left-wing groups and media outlets that are very critical of Israel and are highly staffed with Jewish people. So there is that, and I think that there is that divide. And if honestly you care about Israel, I think that most people can agree that their bad policies. I care about this country, and that's why I'm concerned about what the U.S. is doing and why we're creating problems for future generations and debasing the currency, because we both have family and children, so we have a lot in this game, I think. But to point out this is important, but at the same time, if you really care about Israel, you would probably be against the policies that they are using against the Palestinians and the way that they deal with Hamas, which, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you really have to kill these people, you don't have to blow up 1,500 citizens and UN schools and other alleged safe places, which become victim target zones. There's better ways to do that too, and so
it's a rough one, and
ultimately, the people that really do care about that country, if there are that care about the history and the alleged Jewish state, you would think, okay, well, what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing is probably pretty bad, because there's only one country in the world that actually favors Israel in media coverage and people just generally like. And that is the United States. Every other country, there was a poll, international studies and poll that came out that was scientific. Yes, science, if you believe that. And I don't.
No, I believe that. I believe that 100%, that the U.S. is the only one that's pro, and that's even
that's isolating you. I mean, that's isolating your ability to. I mean, now there's a lot of anti-Israeli sentiment, even more so than usual, and that just creates more prejudices and racist views and people that will blame heritage and your father's lineage for what you are doing or whatever. I mean, attaching other things to you,
right.
Misdeeds. Oh, well, you're Jewish. Oh, that means you're evil. So you have to live for trying to prove to people that you're not something that they think you are. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, yeah. So it's bullcrap, and I think that he's right there. And Bad Science Chad had a piece here. He said that he listens to both of the shows. I've been listening to your 2 podcast shows with apt enthusiasm, and thank you for putting them out there for free. And I have a book recommendation for you, and I'm sure for you as well, Charlie. It's Ben Gold.
I feel left out here a little bit.
Ben
Go ahead.
Goldacre, called Bad Science. No, both the shows. And
okay, good. Okay, good.
He said your 2 podcasts. You are my other half in the podcast world. You're the only other one, Charlie McGrath.
I'm number 4. I like it.
No, number 3. No, you're number 2. Craig is number 3. See, you're always
no. I mean, in your personal life, I understand for the rundown here. Let's see, 1, 2, because I moved up a spot in the first 52 weeks. I moved up a couple spots, as the most important people in your life, and I greatly appreciate that. I also, all the people that
I'm gonna get a tattoo that says BFF. Will that be enough, Charlie McGrath?
As long as you have my image.
Okay.
Or my birthday. Image or my birthday in there.
Can I have your social security number, a barcode, maybe
That's fine. That's
RFID chip, something?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go all the way.
That'd be nice.
I want to thank all the people who have continually supported the program financially, because what I found over the last year is that if we ask for it, the people will do it. And we see people doing it consistently month after month, and that is how we are going to see Doomcast grow. Truly, I mean, Doug and I both agree. If we could grow this to the point to where we could both make a living at doing this, this is what you would hear. This is what you would see us do every single day, because it is a passion and it's something we believe in greatly. So I want to thank all the people that have taken the time over the last year to not only listen and spread this to the people that they care about, but have seen fit to go ahead and donate, $10, $20, $100.
It keeps me from working at 7-Eleven. It keeps me from picking up another gig. Honestly, I mean, that's it comes right down to that. If we can't get financial support, at least enough to make it, somewhat viable and offset the costs. I mean, literally, we put money into this. We're actually broadcasting from a new rig, which it's pretty okay. Windows 8 is horrible, but $500 laptop, boom. And it's just one of those things where it's not really a matter of can we buy it. It's a matter of we have to buy it. We have to delve in. So it's not just you out there that are financially vested. Charlie and I not only vest lots of time and effort, and Craig does as well, but just into the little nuances of the show. I mean, come on. I had to look around for Charlie clips to bug him with.
Yeah, I like that one.
I forgive you for stabbing me over that little disagreement we had last year.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Oh my gosh,
there's stuff here, people. Telling you.
And before I wrap it up, I want to say this. I absolutely thank you, Doug Owen. You are the top of my list of thanks. Because without you make this fun. You make it fun for me every week. I know that we don't agree on everything, and I know sometimes we'll battle on air, but it's always a good time, and it's always at the end of the day we always end up laughing, and that's what this is all about. I want to wake people up, which is my goal in life. Outside of my 9-to-5 job, that is what I spend my entire time doing. But this allows me to do that in a way that I think works for the common person in this country. If you hear this podcast, you might say, what the hell on some parts, but you'll understand by the end of it that Doug and I are just ordinary people, and we're trying to do our best to enlighten our fellow Americans. So I want to thank you, number one, for making this fun, making this light, and constantly causing me to think. And of course, Craig Simpson, who without a doubt every week is as valuable and as reliable as we have been at getting this program out. So thank you, Doug Owen. Thank you, Craig Simpson.
Resist, we much.
Oh my
we
God.
must and we will much about that be committed.
Yes. My name is Charlie McGrath. My website is WWIII.com. My co-founder, my co-host, my friend is Doug Owen. His website is blacklistednews.com. If you want to contact Doug about the program, it is Doug at blacklistednews.com. If you want to contact me, it is info@wideawakenews.com. We will be back next week with Doomcast number 53, launching the second year of this endeavor. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you again next week. Have a good night. Peace out, y'all.